Hi guys, welcome. And who dat? I'm Joe, and I'm here to review this weekend's past matchup, Monday Night Football, as our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints, travel to Charlotte, North Carolina to take on our NFC South divisional foe, the Carolina Panthers. And the Saints come away with the victory. We are now 2-0. Final score, Saints 20, Panthers 17. This was a hard-fought defensive battle, and the Saints found a way to win again. We start 2-0 this season, and this is the first time we've started 2-0 in the past 10 years. Yes. Also, we've allowed 20 points or fewer in the past 10 games, and that is a Saints record. We beat a record long held by the Dome Patrol. And so now this team has a part of Saints history. 10 opponents in a row now that have scored 20 or fewer points. The last team to break 20 points against us was the Baltimore Ravens last year when Jackson ran like crazy. And yeah, so I watched a few reactions to the game last night, Monday night, and everybody's freaking out about the offense. So I felt pretty good about the game last night. I thought as far as the ebb and flow of the game went, the Saints felt like they were in control pretty much the whole game. You know, the offense couldn't get it going in the first half, but the defense was holding everything down. You know, and when you have a turnover or if you allow just one big play, a close game like that can get away from you. But this game didn't get away from us. Every time the offense struggled, the defense went out there and did their job. Every time we turn the ball over or every time we shank a punt or anytime we make a mistake, the defense seemed to have our back. Carolina managed to get in the field goal range a couple of times, you know, and by the third quarter, we finally score a touchdown. You know, when it was 13-6, I felt like, yeah, we're in control of this game. The score goes to 13-9, and we score another touchdown in the fourth quarter to make it 20-9. And yeah, it felt like we were in a good place. We allow a really big drive at the end of the game. We're playing soft. We're letting the clock burn out. They managed to get a touchdown. First touchdown scored against the Saints this year. And it was a disappointment in the 2-point conversion after. You know, that got them to within 3 points, and they were praying for a onside kick recovery. And yeah, the game came down to the end just like that. Plus, the Saints, when we did recover that onside kick, we had to run the clock out, which is exactly what we did, and it's what we did last week. So when you look at the final stats of everything, you can be disappointed. And I know a lot of fans watching the game were probably disappointed because the offense couldn't get it going. I'm not ready to push the panic button just yet. This team, it feels like this offense can get it going when it needs to. And the fact that this season is so brand new and this team with Derek Carr, with no Alvin Kamara, an offensive line that's struggling right now, it seems like we put it all together to beat two really good defenses so far. Everybody that I've been watching saying we can't keep this up. Eventually, we're going to play an offense that's going to beat our defense, and so we're going to need our offense to do better. Well, you never know, and like I say, the key words here, the ebb and flow of the game, felt like the Saints were in control, especially at the end when we were up 20-9. So I'm not as disappointed as everybody else. I think that, you know, I like to say, well, what have we done recently? I don't compare this offense to Drew Brees. I compare this offense to last year's offense. Last year, we managed to score more than 20 points 9 times out of 17 games. So there were 8 games when we couldn't break 20. And we scored 20 points in this game. We scored 16 points last week. I think that this offense in the end is going to average about 24 to 25 points a game. So right now, yeah, the offensive output isn't what we want. But I think you put things in perspective like I do. Brand new season, brand new quarterback. We're trying to figure out what's going to work, what isn't. We don't have Alvin Kamara. We lose Jamal Williams early in the game this week. We're down to basically one running back who's a guy we picked up right when the season started, a journeyman in Tony Jones Jr. I think overall this team's doing pretty good. They could do a lot better, but we're doing good enough to win. And I just can't be disappointed in this. Let's pull up the stats and see how we did statistically. So Derek Carr passing 21 of 36, 228 yards, 1 interception. He was sacked 4 times. The completion percentage is okay. It got a lot better in the second half. We needed a couple of big chunk plays in the passing game to get these yards up there, but, we won. I don't know what to say. I mean, Carr, there were a few passes that were perfect, and the receiver got hit and dropped the ball, or the receiver didn't turn around and catch the ball. There were a couple of passes that weren't very good. The interception, another bad decision by Carr. But man, 1 interception is better than 2 or 3. And I just have visions of Winston and Dalton dancing in my head. And I look at Carr and go, yeah, we're in a better spot. Okay. That's how I feel. Taysom Hill also had 1 pass that he completed for 8 yards. Taysom Hill was utilized in this game in a way that I respect. I got to give Pete Carmichael kudos. There were some moments in this game where Carmichael's decisions ticked me off. But for the majority of the game, I thought he was doing pretty good. I saw a lot of plays that felt like setup plays. And I focus on Taysom Hill for this because Taysom got under center quite a bit. Taysom was handing the ball off to running backs. He never does that when he comes in as a surprise quarterback option. And they were doing a lot of, it seemed like pass run options. We don't usually see that with Taysom. Not a lot. Usually he just takes the snap and takes off running. But he was handing the ball off. He threw the ball. He faked the handoff and ran with it. And then sometimes he just ran with it. It was impressive. And I could feel in the ebb and flow of the game that Carmichael was setting the defense up for stuff to come later on. Maybe there's a time and a place where you have to, switch. You have to make that switch, but Saints have seemed to turn around in the second half, both games. Oh, y'all hold on 1 second, please. All right, so sorry about that. Let's talk about the rushing stats now. Taysom Hill, 9 carries, 75 yards. That's an average of 8.5 or 8.3 a carry. Could be the player of the game. We needed that spark this weekend. We got it with Taysom Hill. I loved it. Phenomenal football player. Tony Jones Jr. had 12 carries for 34 yards, 2.8 a carry, and he scores 2 rushing touchdowns. Really good job by the rookie free agent from a few years ago who's spent time on 3 rosters in the last year, but he's found a home with the Saints right now as long as Kamara's out. And then the starting running back, Jamal Williams, had 9 carries for 29 yards. That's 3.2 a carry. He was looking okay until he hurt himself. I think it's a hamstring. We'll find out later on in the week. Hopefully we'll get Kendre Miller back for next week's game. And maybe Jamal can bounce back. But good job by Tony Jones Jr. filling in the gaps. And, of course, Taysom Hill, who wasn't utilized last week, but in yesterday's game could be the player of the game. Receiving for the Saints, Chris Olave, 6 catches on 11 targets. 6 catches for 86 yards. I think at times Carr was trying to force the ball to Olave, but he came up with some really big plays, including a spectacular catch late in the game. He shouldn't have spiked the ball when he got up, but he made an excellent catch. Rashid Shaheed, 4 catches for 63 yards. He was targeted 4 times. Michael Thomas, he had a huge first half, 7 catches for 55 yards on 9 targets. That's what he finishes the game with. Another great day by Thomas, in my opinion. Foster Moreau, he caught 2 balls for 20 yards. He was targeted 2 times, and he put in the work as a run blocker in this game. Good job by Foster. Juwan Johnson, 2 catches, 13 yards on 3 targets. Taysom Hill caught 1 pass on 2 targets for -1 yard. That's our receivers, and the tight ends didn't get involved in the passing game as much. They didn't last week as well. But our receivers they're shining right now. They're looking really good. There's a lot of teams out there, for example, the Panthers, who have a hard time completing passes to wide receivers. But we've got a good core here, and I think Carr's a pretty good quarterback. He'll be able to get the ball to these guys. You know, this is all brand new, so the struggles of the offense are apparent, but I think it's a work in progress. And I think compared to what we had last year, this offense is comparable, if not better already. You know, it's the infancy, so we'll see. All right, on defense, another great day for the black and gold defense, holding a team to under 20 points, 20 or under for the last 10 games in a row. Sets a Saints record. And we were led by Demario Davis, 7 tackles and a sack. Another great day for Davis. Pete Werner had 7 tackles. Another great day by him. Marcus May, safety Marcus May with 7 tackles, including a sack. May was pretty good in the game. He is the guy that got juked on that long run by Young, the longest play of the day for the Panthers. That run, that's the only play that I got to shake my head with May. I mean, quarterback, when a quarterback's running with the ball, you're always afraid to hit him hard because you're afraid he's going to slide at the last minute, and then you'll get flagged. And I don't know, May just got juked there, but other than that, a good play. Alontae Taylor in the slot against Adam Thielen. That's a tough gig. He did allow the touchdown, but he finishes with 5 tackles, including 2 tackles for loss and a pass defense. I think Taylor had another really good day. Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, gets 5 tackles. Marshawn Lattimore finishes with 5 tackles, and he had 1 pass defense. They did not throw the ball Lattimore's way in this game. Another shutdown day for Lattimore. Colin Saunders finishes the day with 4 tackles. Paulson Adebo finishes the day with 4 tackles and a fumble recovery. But Adebo was flagged twice, and both penalties were costly. That's our only problem with Adebo. He's pretty handsy, and he gets caught a lot. He got called for holding once. He got called pass interference once. Cam Jordan finishes the game with 4 tackles. He had the quarterback on the run quite a bit. He finishes with 1 quarterback hit. He was pretty close to getting a sack, but pretty close to getting a pass defense too. But that's Jordan's day. Carl Granderson, 2 total tackles, a sack, a forced fumble. He also hit the quarterback twice. Granderson is showing that he is a really good starting defensive end for this team and in this league. And I'll round out the defense by mentioning defensive tackle Nathan Shepard. He finally shows up. I'm excited. 2 tackles, 2 quarterback hits, 1 sack. A very good day for Shepard. Our defense does great once again. We hold Carolina to 100 yards rushing on 19 attempts. And I got to say, their leading rusher, Miles Sanders, 14 carries, 43 yards. It's an average of 3.1 a carry. His first carry went for 13 yards, and then his next 13 carries gave him 30 yards. So we allow 1 big run, and then after that, we shut the run down. It was a wide receiver run for 7 yards. It was Young scrambling a bunch of times. They got him the rest of those rushing yards. Hubbard had 2 carries, but he averaged about 8 yards a carry on his 2 carries. So, between Hubbard and Young, we allowed 50 yards rushing, and then, we allow 100 for the day. So, and most of that yardage by Young and Hubbard came in the final couple of drives when we were just trying to burn clock out. We were allowing the stuff in front of us as a defense, and it's okay to do that as long as the clock's burning and running. But once they get in that red zone, you got to tighten up. But Carolina does score a touchdown in the red zone. They were 1 of 3. We were 2 of 4 in the red zone, so a little improvement there. Total yards, we finished with 341, and Carolina finishes with 239. So we gained over 100 yards more than Carolina. We rushed for 134 yards on 33 carries. So we outrushed them, we outpassed them, we outgained them. On third downs, we held Carolina to just 4 third-down conversions on 14 attempts. And the Saints, once again, were 7 out of 16, which is not bad. The same thing we did last week. We can be a little bit better, but as long as we keep this up, I think we're in a good spot. Carolina managed 14 first downs in the game. We had 23, which is really good. And we only had 3 penalties. Like I said, a Debo was flagged twice. Other than that, it was a pretty clean game for the Saints. That's encouraging. The Debo penalty on holding, when he was flagged for holding, that negated a turnover by the Saints. An excellent play by Brian Bresee. He was keeping that ball, fumble recovery, and a forced fumble, and doesn't count because of the holding. And there was one play on offense that really drove me crazy. Up until this play, I thought we were calling a really good game on offense. I was giving Carmichael the kudos. We were setting them up, and then we were knocking them down. But on a 3rd and 2, we put Carr in a shotgun with no Taysom Hill in the game. Last week against the Titans, we didn't have a lot of short yardage situations on 3rd down. And we were telling ourselves maybe we would have seen Taysom more if we would have had more of those opportunities. Then we get one, a 3rd and 2, and we put our quarterback in shotgun against a defensive front that's really good and behind an offensive line that's struggling right now. That was a bad play call. I mean, I understand the whole reverse psychology stuff, but it's 3rd and 2. Put Taysom in the game, please. Punch him in the mouth. Call a quarterback run with Carr, for instance. The man can move. Just a lot of stuff that needs to be worked out on the offensive side. As far as play calling goes, that was a bad one. It really puts a bad taste in your mouth for what I thought was an overall well-called game. We had a poor punt. The first punt was, I can call it a shank. It gave them great field position. They only have a half the field to go. They end up with a field goal out of that. And then when we turn the ball over with the interception, that leads to points on the board as well. But other than that, the defense was great. And if the defense keeps this up, we should win a bunch of games. I think our offense is going to put it together here. I feel like we have a pretty good offense, and it's just the early stages. And I think it's all going to come together. Like I say, the important words here are ebb and flow. And even though the Saints were only ahead 6-3 at halftime, it felt like we were in control of the game. We let it go in the fourth quarter, allowing 11 points, but a lot of that was burning time off the clock. And the fact that we scored 2 touchdowns in the second half, puts us over the top for good. So overall, I think a really good game by the Saints. I understand where we need to get better on offense and on defense and on special teams. But I can't look a gift horse in the mouth, okay? This is pretty good stuff compared to last year. Like I say, we didn't score 20 points in 8 games last year. So right now we've got 2 under our belt, and they're both wins. So I'm pretty excited. So who dat family, another win. We're 2-0. Subscribe to Rosenfield 10 for more videos like this. I will be previewing the upcoming matchup for our Bless You Boys against the Green Bay Packers. Until then, subscribe and keep your eyes open for the video, and I'll talk to you later. Who dat?